Guys, welcome back, and let's continue with the next part. Um, Again, some new unique topic, guys. I have planned for today, and very interesting topic. It give you a lot of insights about the capabilities what AWS provide to us. Okay, and anybody who has a some kind of, and this is very common thing, guys. In the industry nowadays, almost every industry use cloud, but even though lots of companies planning to move their data in the cloud, and but they have to properly you know plan it. Okay, so this is called migration. They have to create a proper strategy for the migration, depend what they want to migrate. It's not one single term that this is a one rule for migration, and in this rule everything gonna work. Okay, environment to environment, how you connect the pieces together, component together, what you want to migrate is a long big process. Okay, but today's topic will help you to solve one of the migration part in the cloud, that is more about storage perspective, but it is not only for the migration. Okay, some more things today's topic gonna help you, right? So first of all, guys, let me tell you the agenda for today. Then we will understand the concepts of the today's topic. Okay, so one of the topic I would like to start today is storage. You guys know a lot of thing about storage in we discussed already in the last classes, but there's one service in AWS called storage gateway that we are going to deal and discuss today. Okay, so this is one of the topic. Second topic would be, again, we have one more service, very new kind of service, is called FSx. So this is also one of the topic we are going to discuss today. And if by chance if you got the time, there's some very small concepts about instance, different planning or different type of instances, especially in EC2, spot instances or dedicated instances or reserved instances, something like this. So if we got the time today, we will also talk about these small things. Okay, but the main topic for today is storage gateway and FSx. Okay, so let's focus on this topic. Lots of different use cases you can solve by these topics. So let me start from the topic called storage gateway. Okay, I don't know, guys, have you remember one task I had given to you long back when I was discussing about EBS services? I think in my initial classes, and I had given you task, and the task was, I told you that we created one hard disk, one storage or one volume from EBS, obviously in AWS cloud, and I want this hard disk to be connected, okay, to your local laptop. So I don't know, guys, if you remember this task or not, or you have tried this task or not. So this hard disk physically exists in the Amazon Azure data center, but I want via internet or via network, this hard disk gonna connect to your local laptop. So it will look like or feel like that this hard disk is actually physically connected to your laptop, but it is not. It will come via internet. Okay, so if you want to do this, okay, then storage gateway is the one who gonna help you. This is one of the things storage gateway can do for you. By chance, for this particular use case or this particular requirement, there will be some more way and approach available. Okay, so obviously I'm not going to discuss right now, but storage gateway is one of the way you can use to solve this use case. Okay, so this is one task I had given to you. I remember this task. So today you will get the answer of this particular task, how you can do it. Okay, but before this, let me explain you in detail what kind of use cases storage gateway will solve for you. So let me start one by one, right? Also, let me log in to the cloud also. Okay, so before this, guys, before I start the topic called storage gateway, okay, let me give you very brief overview, okay, about something. just for demonstration purpose, what I'm going to do, let's say this is my local laptop or this is my local virtual machine here. Okay, or think guys, this is your company laptop or this is your company server and this system is located in your company data center. It is also known as a private data center, or it's also known as on-premises system where you own everything and you manage everything. So let's say this is your uh, on-premises system. Okay, and here in this on-premise system, we are running some application. Now it is it's different guys which application you are running right now. Okay, let's say you are running with web server, Apache web server, and you guys know, I think very well, if you launch Apache web server, okay, behind the scene they store all their web pages, all the data in a folder called where WS. So this is a folder where they store everything. Or maybe let's say you're running your own personal database, for example, MySQL database. So guys, again, if you use MySQL database server, by default, they store everything, all of the databases, table, schema, whatever you know about databases, in a folder called where lib MySQL. By chance, you can change the folder name, but this is the by default folder they use. Okay, so now, because if you run your web server or MySQL in your system, or I can say on-prem or on-premises, your own data center, so this storage you have to provide. This storage you have to manage their security, their permissions, their encryptions, their scalability. If you go out of the space, you have to manage how you're gonna manage the space. Maybe you can use some kind of NAS storage. Maybe you can use LVM or lots of storage cluster available in the market. Everything you have to manage. Okay, but because this is our data center, if you just talk about scalability, okay, means if you need more and more space, how far you can go, right? You need 1 GB, 10 GB, 10 terabyte, petabyte, exabyte, how much you can scale, right? So obviously there's a limit in the terms of costing also, and other limits also we have. Okay, so the point over here is, or it's not, guys, again, it is not about the scale. It is also about, now you know some term, it is also about IOPS. It is also about throughput, the speed you read and write. IOPS, how much parallel operation you can do as a random operation. I told you already about IOPS. So performance also, guys, matter a lot. So we guys have helped talk a lot about a storage part in different perspective and different scenario, performance, security, other points also. Okay, so if you do everything on premises, okay, everything you have to manage. This is a very common thing, right? But maybe you say, I don't want to manage my storage. Okay, but I don't want to migrate my applications to the cloud also. So guys, and this one thing. So what I'm saying here, my database server is running in my on-premises server. Okay, or maybe web server is running on web server. We have thousands and thousands of clients connected online. So I don't want to take this risk of shifting our web server or migrating our web server from on-premises to the cloud. I can't take this risk. Obviously, your ongoing business, okay, you can't take any risk, because maybe something goes down, it is bad for the company reputation. Okay, but we are facing some issues in the storage perspective. We have to manage the storage, because storage is one thing who store every data for me. Or maybe there might possibility, okay, maybe you have planned to migrate the entire application or application stack to the cloud, but obviously it's not good practice to migrate everything in one single go. Just do one by one, step by steps. Or one of the step, maybe you say, let's do one thing. Let's do one thing. Let's keep on running a web server, because web server is a process. I don't want to stop a process. Okay, let's run my web server in my current local OS. Okay, but do one thing. Let's start migrating our storage of this folder or data of this folder. Okay, so this might be a case. So technically, so point, guys, would be finally what I'm trying to tell you guys here is here is in the simple term and simple note, I want I want my entire storage, right, or all the kind of storage. Okay, mainly you guys know there's two main kind of storage that normally application use. Okay, it is a file storage or it is a block storage. Okay, again I'm referring guys here object storage. The object storage is one where we upload the file, download the file. There's very limited activity we do. Okay, and as such, if you go for any of the application like web server or MySQL, they don't use object storage. They always want file storage or file system maybe. Okay, very quick example. I believe you know, but very quick example. Let me also log in. It will save our time also. So if you launch any server or services, they say I want to go in the folder. If I do ls command, I want to see the entire list, all the file and folder. I can cat, I can read, I can delete the file, and I read some of the lines of the file. So those operations you can only do in the file system. In object storage you can't do. If I give you a 2GB file and say we want to read 10 lines of this 2GB, as such it's not possible. You have to first download the entire 2GB file. But if you go file system, right, that by default guys, whenever you use any OS, you always has your file system. So this folder is my file system. I can do ls, I want to read this file, I can read it. Okay, read it, or what I want to do I can do here. So if you go to web server is also guys using this folder. This folder is what is a file system. Okay, right now I'm using the local file system here. File system. Either you can use local or maybe from the cloud. And some of the applications may be using block storage. It is like a hard disk. And they say if you don't provide a block storage, might not work. So I think guys, this class is not file system, block storage. My very initial classes I've talked about this very high level concept about these topics. Okay, but technically what I'm talking about. So right now I'm not considering any object storage here because my main plan to talk about my application need a storage. Okay, either file storage or file system or the block storage. Okay, so now what I want, this storage, or maybe I can use the word called storage layer. I want this storage layer, right, to be managed in AWS cloud. Okay, but I want my application would be running on my on premises. Okay, and because application running here on premises, so let's say this is your application running. Let me start my local web server. My web server started. So my application, my server is running locally. Or because server is running locally, so they are reading a local folder. And whatever file they have a local folder they can read. So because they have this file, so if I very quickly curl to my local system to see what they have, so they see this file. So I don't know why they're asking password. I think I've set the password here. 1 minute, very quickly. Let me check. Yeah, I have this file. So let me read off this file. And so this is output of my web page. Come on. Okay, so everything is about local here. So technically what a file I'm talking about, I want my app to be in my this app layer would be in my on-prem premises, but storage would be on the cloud. Depend you want file storage or you want block storage. Okay, so that's what I want. So now point over here is okay, let's say you're looking for the block storage. You guys know block storage is normally managed in AWS by EBS service. Okay, so what you want finally, you want from the EBS, I can create a block or block storage or the volume of some GB, and this volume from the cloud via networking internet come to my laptop, my server, and connect in such a way that it look like we have connected local storage. That's what our requirement is. Or if you talk about file system, as you guys know, there's one service already we have, it's called EFS. So my file system would be in the cloud. Okay, but I would like to connect over here. By chance, good thing is EFS has a capability that if you launch a EFS server, you guys know EFS behind the scene use NFS. So EFS behind the scene has a capability to connect the server on premise. Okay, they have that capability. But EFS guys, by chance, if you compare EFS, compare EFS with the power of S3 as a service. Okay, so S3 has almost everything what cloud, what storage need. They can go to scale like unlimited. I can go to petabyte or exabyte scale. The IOPS, the throughput, their planning, life cycle, encryptions, everything they have. Okay, the NFS will be very limited with those facilities. Okay, so technically, what trick we would like to do here? Okay, trick is internally I want to use S3 only. Okay, but I want such a service in AWS cloud. Okay, that give me illusion that actually we are interacting with file services. They are the one who will provide me file system or file server. Maybe for your for in simple terms, we can use also what called NFS server. But internally, whatever we store here, it will be finally saved in S3. Same thing here. We feel we are getting the block storage of volume here, but whatever the block store hard disk we are getting here of 10 GB, 100 GB, or terabyte, finally it is storing in somewhere in S3. Why I want S3? Because S3 is one of the native service. Native means all the power AWS has in S3. So S3 is always a great service to you. Okay, so technically what I want, what Amazon say to us, they're saying to us that everything they are have a capability, they're storing everything in S3. By chance S3 object storage, but they have some trick they use. Okay, they use, and for a customer, when any customer come to a cloud and looking for file server or file system or NFS server, okay, we will provide them. And because we provide the NFS server, you guys know by chance that if you have any NFS server somewhere, you can directly mount the NFS server in your system via internet or the network. Okay, something like this. But internally, everything gonna save in S3, obviously in the S3 bucket. Okay, so this is one small point. Like again, guys, link in a minute what I'm talking about. But finally, what I'm trying to tell you guys here is, okay, I want this particular folder, right, will take the space from the AWS cloud. And this one, guys, is always interesting thing. This is my personal on-premise system. Application running over here, but when I do ls, okay, this content look like is there in my laptop, but this content would not be in my laptop. It's coming directly from AWS cloud, and from where? From S3. Even the S3 object services, okay, but S3 will be for us, will be converted into a file system like NFS server. Because the good thing about NFS server is if you have one server, you guys know we discussed already NFS, but if this is the NFS server and this is the client, so NFS server give a capability. So what a folder they share, we can mount in our system in one of the folder. And when I go to this folder, we can see all the data that is stored in this folder. So you guys know about NFS, we have discussed already in our some of the classes like EFS classes. Okay, so this kind of illusion or this kind of facility is provided S3. How? That's what the main topic for today. Okay, so technically what I wanted to say here guys here, okay, today we create a bucket in S3, but this bucket would be converted. This bucket is an object storage. Okay, but this object storage will convert it into file storage there in the cloud only. Okay, and that storage will come to my laptop on premises and will be connected to this folder, or I can say will be mounted to this folder. Okay, and obviously guys, but obvious. So if I do ls, okay, and here what a file we create, folder we create, data put, we feel we are putting everything in my local system, but technically S3 is mounted or NFS is mounted. So, so everything is being synced and stored in S3. Because they're stored in S3, so automatically now onwards, whatever data you have, you will create present data or future data. By chance, it look like it's running on premises, but by chance, it obviously automatically sync to, or sorry, sync to, or share to the cloud storage. So it would be one of the step I can say as a migration perspective is one of the step we can consider for the migration. But this is not only for migration. Technically, we're getting the storage from a cloud. All the facilities of storage that our S3 have will be provided to you. And it is not only for file system, it is for block storage also. Okay, so one of the app might need some hard disk, okay, or might need some storage, okay, but for the storage I need hard disk. So again, I contact to this service, and this service give me hard disk to us. Okay, but technically this hard disk also stored in S3. So it look like we got the hard disk over the internet or network, but internally they store everything in the S3 only. Okay, this thing we need. But how it work, how I can get the storage of the cloud and connect it and attach to my local laptop or network. That's for the today's topic, and it will be done by a storage gateway. Okay, and why I want to do, maybe for migration purpose, maybe I want some extra scalability, IOs, I need a power of cloud storage, I want to do a backup there. So whatever the use case would be, that would be different, but these are some few use cases you guys might have. Or maybe I have a lot of logs data here, so I can attach to my log folder. So automatically my app will create log. That app is running on premises, but as soon as create a log, or log automatically be uploaded to S3. But somehow, how somehow we will discuss in a minute. Okay, and after we log put in S3, you guys know in the last class we talk about Athena, or reporting tools, or monitoring tools, or visual tools. We can use these tools to do reporting on the top of this. So any kind of use case you have, okay, finally you want your data from on premises go to cloud. So for this, we have to connect cloud storage to on-prem. So if you have a requirement, cloud storage, if you want to connect to on-premise system, then storage gateway is one of the great solution to work on. Okay, I just want to tell you one more, two or more, three words here that you know already. File system is also known as NAS, that for attached storage. Block storage known as SAN, storage area network. So if you want to have a NAS or SAN services, services that will connect to your local system, then storage gateway gonna help you. Okay, so how it work, let me give more in-depth knowledge purely about cloud storage gateway is one of the service. Then we directly move to the practical. Understand one thing. Okay, what I discussed till now, that is the only content we have in our CSA training. Okay, that's all. Okay, so none of, and if you can see any of the training of CSA, any advanced level CSA training or developer training, that is the only till here is the only topic of storage gateway. This topic is just they added in this program of CSA just for as an overview perspective. But I just want to take this topic a little bit more in deep dive with some extra hands-on. Okay, and that's I always do in my other topics also. Okay, because just having the knowledge doesn't help you. If you see the practical, you can use it, you can feel it, how the thing works. So I'm just going to show you a multiple practical of storage gateway. But before this, you should know some vocabulary, especially about SAN or especially about NAS. Okay. So let me explain you some vocabulary here. So what's the idea? So idea would be something like this. Okay, let's say this is your local on-prem. Maybe I can say a laptop or my VM is running here. Okay, and internally we have some S3. Obviously S3 means, you know, object storage in the cloud. Okay, and you want to store something. Okay, but technically understand one thing. If you ask your VM that's running in my local laptop, this one, can you connect to S3 and store the objects or files there? Answer yes. So we have a Boto3 library, we have AWS CLI command. We can use those, run the command, we can upload, download from S3. But understand one thing, guys, I don't want upload and download my files. I need a service. I need a service called NAS service. I need a service called SAN. NAS means something like NFS. Okay, not only NFS, I can say typically if your systems are Linux or Unix, normally we use NFS. But if these VMs on premises are Windows, so normally instead of NFS we use SMB. So NFS is also sharing the file system. SMB is also sharing the file system, is a one kind of protocol. I think server message block something. Okay, so anybody who by chance know in Linux Samba server, so Samba server is the one who work on SMB protocol. So this is for Windows protocol who give NAS service. This is normally for Linux. Even the Windows by chance also support NFS, but not all Windows, but typically NFS is for Linux. Okay, so if your VM is Windows or Linux and you want in this VM in one of the folder, okay, you want to connect a NAS storage. Connect technically means I want to say mount. So I want to mount in this folder storage from the NAS. Okay, but internally this NAS service I don't want locally, even though you can create your local NFS server. But what I want, this NAS service will come from the AWS cloud. Or whatever I put here in this NAS server, maybe NFS Samba, or sorry, not Samba, I say SMB. Okay, internally they will go and store in S3. Obviously, somewhere in the S3 bucket. That's what I want. Or maybe some of the app in my local VM, they don't need any folder or the file system, because folder is also considered as a file system. They need block storage, means they need hard disk. Okay, and for this you can create your own local block server or SAN server. Okay, but here I want this hard disk will come over the internet or the network and connect to my local VM as a new hard disk. You know, if you guys know the command fdisk -L in Linux, it will show you all the hard disks you have. Okay, so I want this hard disk will come from the network or from the internet. Typically for this we also use a protocol. If you guys might know, it's called iSCSI. Is one of the protocol, maybe FC or FCC, OE, OE actually. So multiple protocols we have. iSCSI is a very common one that we use. Right, so I want this. I will connect, get the hard disk via this protocol over the network or the internet. This also over the network or internet. But this guy also I store everything in S3. So technically, how it's going to work? Okay. Interesting thing is you can create your own NAS server in local also, in cloud also. You can create your iSCSI server in local also, in cloud also. Okay, that you can connect, that you can create. Okay, but what you will get if you create your own NFS server in the cloud and ask the NFS server that whatever file we are providing to you from a local stored in S3, somehow we can achieve this, but it will be so much complex in the terms of management. Okay, second interesting thing is okay, for your laptop or for your VM, you'd always go to internet. And here guys, the logic stuff. Okay, what I want to give here a facility, I say you are my local computers on premises. Maybe you don't have a capability to go directly on the internet. Okay, again guys, repeating this term, very important point. By chance, if you see this particular box, I am writing here in this green, this is running in the AWS cloud. And here I'm considering that this NFS server you configure, this SAN server you configured, S3 always they have everything running in somewhere on the internet or on AWS cloud. And I want my local system, let's say this is part of VM, okay, want a storage and connect to this storage here or mount this storage here, but I don't want they go to internet. Obviously, guys, without internet, how they can connect to AWS? Okay, or maybe normally they most of the application is very secure. Let's say this is your database server. Data server don't have capability to go to the internet. Okay, because we want to keep it secure, so we just want to run in our isolated private world in our data center. Okay, so this is a very common scenario, and that is the reason what normally we do, or what can we do here. If you want, your database server will go and get the storage from this guy on the cloud. So what can we do? We can create one bridge between cloud, means on the internet, and bridge between let me also write this guy in a box called gray. Okay, so we can create one bridge between this system. Let's say IP of this system is 100, or let's say IP of this system is 200. Let's say IP of this system is, let's say, 150. So what can we do? We can create one bridge between this gray box and the green box. Okay, means what I do, okay, if you go to AWS and ask AWS, do you have any bridge to connect these guys? Because in the green, they are the one who providing the storage, means the storage providers. And here I need a storage, means I am the user or the client of the storage. So AWS say, yes, we have one service called storage gateway. And storage gateway, we are providing you some devices. Okay. We are providing you some devices. That devices is called storage devices. Bison is also known as appliance. So we are providing some storage appliance. Okay, so get this storage appliance from AWS, or maybe you can purchase from AWS Amazon account also. It's a physical hardware. Okay, get this, buy this storage, ship at your data center, and place this device or appliance somewhere here. Okay, and this device has two network port. One port in the left side connect to your instances, and right side you just connect to internet. Right, so we have some internet here. So our internet connect to the cloud. Okay, so it look like a router, but it is not router. It is a bridge. Bridge means is a gateway. Okay, because you guys know router is also like gateway, but this is the gateway for the storage. And you know what is the beauty of this gateway here is, okay, for this system, IP 100, if this system say I am looking for NFS server or NAS services, okay, who is my server? So you know what the interesting thing is, this computer say, hey, I am your server. I am an NFS server. Okay, just come to me and get the storage and mount in your folder somewhere. The same time, if same system or the computer here in the computer in your data center, they say I'm looking for hard disk and the block storage. So again, same gateway say, same device say that I need a block storage, means I need SAN storage, maybe via iSCSI protocol. So this gateway say, yes, I am your server running in your local center, isolated world. Just go and connect me. Come to me. I can provide storage to you. So it will provide this appliance to you that will work like a local server for NAS and for the SAN. Okay, and they are not just telling you as a proxy. They mean it. They say, yes, I am, and they give this storage to you because they have their own local hard disk internally in this device. So they have some local hard disk connected. Depend, guys, what hardware you purchase, of maybe in GB, in terabyte. So they have some local hard disk, but this hard disk, maybe they have 200 GB hard disk here, but this hard disk, what do they give you here? Just only for cache purpose. Now what I mean by cache? So let's say this gateway is one device having the size of let's say 200 GB. 200 GB. Okay, this exists in this gateway. And let's say your IP 100 come and say, I am looking for 20 terabyte hard disk. You know what this gateway say? Yes, I have it, but technically they don't have. But why they have it? Because what happened when your on-premise system come to this gateway? Okay, so what they come to it with the data, because for them these are the server. So this gateway store this data locally here only in this 200 GB hard disk caches. But behind the scene, so for IP100 it look like this gateway is the actual server because they are storing locally. But behind the scene, guys, what data they have, they keep on syncing with the actual NAS server on the cloud, because this side they have internet connectivity. But this NAS server behind the scene storing everything in the S3. So the is the reason, guys, I'm saying this device working as a gateway, and this gateway is only meant for storage. So I can say the word called this is the storage gateway. Okay, but here is not proxy. If it's proxy, then whatever data of IP100 sent to this guy, they will reply back to the cloud. But it is not actually proxy. They have provided local caches. Maybe some kind of network outage come up, internet goes down, maybe internet goes slow. The client won't face any issue of latency because for the client they are storing everything locally, but this gateway is syncing everything from the local hard disk, that is work here, the cache hard disk on the cloud, and finally everything is stored in S3. Okay, so and good thing is this entire setup, okay, how they stored in S3, how they changes, convert file to object, how to convert this one, how to create this one. Okay, everything is being managed by AWS. You don't have to worry. Only thing that you have to do is to buy this hardware, okay, and put in your local on-premises. Okay, this is the only thing you have to do. Okay, and tell your all the VM system. Now, whenever you need NFS or NAS or ISP, just contact to this gateway, whatever the IP they have, let's say 250 IP, just go and contact to the system. They will provide to you something like this. Okay, now it is a choice of the company. They want to buy an appliance, okay, as a hardware device, physical hardware, or they also provide you a virtual hardware. Obviously, if you go to hardware physical, it will give you better performance because your physical hardware come up. But if you don't want to invest on the hardware, you can also get a virtual appliance. Because you guys know, whenever you guys go for hardware, maybe router, switches, hardware is contain hardware, motherboard, RAM, and CPU. But on the top of the hardware, they have the operating system image running. So same operating system image, guys, they're giving you as a virtual appliance. So they say, what are the OS we need, or what are the OS that is going to manage the storage gateway? We are providing to you. Okay, now this OS image you have to run somewhere. And how is, obviously, guys, if anybody provide OS image, normally if to run, we need a virtualized technology, means some kind of hypervisor we need. So in your company, whatever hypervisor you have, for example, in my case, in my local laptop, I have the hypervisor called Oracle VirtualBox. This is for desktop purpose. Actually, nobody in the real world use VirtualBox as a hypervisor. It's normally meant for laptops, but normally in the real world, we use a hypervisor like Hyper-V. We use KVM hypervisor for Linux, especially. We use VMware hypervisor called ESXi. So whatever hypervisor technology you have, you already have, get this image, install the image, boot the image, and use it. So without buying the real hardware, this image you have free available. Just get it from the AWS, launch in your virtualization environment, whatever the virtual technology you have in your in your company. Normally every company has some kind of virtual tools or the environment, and now there you will get your storage gate. Okay, so that's so simple to do. Just get the image, store it like a VM, and you have your own personal storage gateway from the cloud. But you have to put the storage gateway on premises, so your local computer will feel you're connected to local storage, and the local storage will give the feel or storage gateway give them feel that yes, we have a local NAN, local NAS or SAN storage, but technically it is somehow like an illusion. Everything is being synced directly on the cloud. Now, after I put everything in the cloud, what you want to do on the top of this data? Okay, maybe you will use as a backup. Maybe you can use this data for big data analysis, for analytics, for machine learning, for reporting. That would be your case. Or maybe my company after some days and month feel now almost all the last 10 days data or 2 months data is already there in the cloud. Let's launch one more database server in the cloud and start migrating my traffic. Let's create one load balancer between. So now all the new client will come up, we'll start sending traffic. So this kind of strategy also they can create. So that slowly, they migrate the entire workload on the cloud if they want to migrate. But a lot of companies also use this concept in such a way. Some part they're running in the cloud, some part they're running in the local cloud, or maybe local on-premises data center. Okay, so hundreds of reasons for this. So it is maybe is also known as the example of hybrid cloud. So this kind of solution, guys, is very much helpful for having the hybrid cloud. Normally, hybrid cloud means multiple examples of hybrid cloud we have. But one example is some part of my app here, the storage coming from the public cloud, some part is coming from private cloud or private data center. So, but this is one single app. So this is kind of hybrid cloud. So, hybrid cloud, I'm going to show you as a demonstration right now. So in my local on premises, let's say this is my local data center, or let's say this is my local cloud. Okay, my web server running here, service will run here only. My client will come to this system only from the IP to connect the website, but this data will store and come from the cloud S3 via storage gateway. And this storage gateway I will put in on premises. So in my case, I can put in one of my virtual technology by Oracle box that doesn't support, but I can launch VMware in my laptop, or maybe I can use Hyper-V in my Windows to launch the storage gateway virtual uptime. Virtual means it's not real hardware. They give the image, and from the image you can launch the OS. Okay, so something like this. Guys, this is the old architecture, how the thing work. And let me guys directly go and demonstrate this practical. Okay, how to set up the storage gateway. So for this, let me log into cloud. So this is one of the topic for today. Pretty straightforward, but when I go for this practical, you will see some more concepts and the detail. Okay, and after this, we will move to the next topic. That's called FSx. It's one of the new service. Okay, that we'll also discuss. So if you go to storage gateway, there's a hybrid cloud or hybrid storage integration. Okay, so if I click here, 3 facility they provide you. Okay, one, they say either anybody who come to me as a gateway, I will tell them I am a NAS server, I am a SAN storage, and if some company also using some older technology for backup, for TAP archive, TAP is one of the older devices to store and for archiving or backup purpose. Okay, so I also work as a tape server. Okay, but behind the scene, whatever data they store in the tape, I will behind the scenes send to a Glacier. Glacier, guys, or we already discussed. So Glacier is like a S3 only, but Glacier is slow, also cheap, but behind the scene Glacier also use a tape also. So it look like they file they store in the tape devices, but instead on premises they are internally syncing to the cloud. Okay, so that facility also they have if you want to use. So there's storage gateway on premises appliance to the cloud storage seamlessly. You don't have to worry about. You never come to know this. Your data actually is syncing to the cloud. You feel it is storing locally in our data center, but everything is synced from on premises to the AWS storage. And here mainly S3. Okay, so these are some of the use cases you have. And if you click, now there's three gateway types. Either file storage means NAS, volume storage means block storage, okay, or tape, that's I'm talking about. Find the store in S3, sorry, Glacier. Okay, so today I'm going to show you both these two practical, file and the volume. Okay, the file means NAS or volume means SAM. So these two practical I'm going to show you here. Okay, let me first go to file storage. So what I wanted here to make it my diagram a little more clean, what I wanted here, I wanted that in my on premises, okay, I have my own local virtual machine, this one. They need some storage, and the storage they need is NAS. And by chance I know this VM is Linux, so normally Linux we use NFS as a protocol to get the next storage, NAS storage. So this VM going to connect to my local storage gateway VM or appliance or hardware or virtual environment, whatever you want to say here. Okay, that will give me a facility for file. File means NAS. Okay, so this gateway we are going to configure. And this, guys, everything I'm putting in one single box here. So let's say this is my own prem. So, so for this, you need this hardware or this virtual hardware. What I mean by virtual hardware, so this VM is virtual hardware. So they have the RAM, they have the CPU, there's the OS. This is also what is known as virtual hardwares, virtual systems, or VMs. Okay, so for this, I select this option here and click on next. And now here they tell you if you want to buy real hardware, click here. If you click here, I take you to the I click here, I will take you to the respective team or sales department. They will reply back, or maybe I take you to a link where you can also buy the real hardware. They ship it to a set data center and put it there if you want to buy. Obviously, they come with high price, but performance wise, they are always good. Or you can use these virtual platform. For example, let's say in my laptop, I have Hyper-V, hypervisor, so I can download this image. Click here. This image 145 GB in size around. They download, unzip this and load, and will launch your own VM. But this VM work as a gateway for you. Okay, so right now I'm just canceling this. I don't want this. So three versions support: VMware, Hyper-V, and this one. By chance, I don't have none of the things set up actually here in my laptop because I have already done it with Oracle VirtualBox. I can set this thing in my laptop, but it will mess around with my Oracle VirtualBox. So I'm not using any of these three, guys. Just for demonstration purpose, what I'm going to do, I'm going to launch this storage gateway in EC2 instance. I know EC2 instance is by chance in the cloud only, but it will give you an illusion or give you a simulation that we have our own personal gateway. So finally, your VM gonna go over the internet only by chance for this. Why? Because EC2 is there in the internet. But what a functionality you will see, it will same functionality if you will have when you launch locally. Why I'm not launching locally? Because I don't have none of the system in my laptop. Maybe you guys might not have. Otherwise, if you have, download this KVM image, launch it virtual manager in Red Hat or CentOS or Fedora. It'll give you. That's all. Okay, so make it this simple so you can directly conclude and see what happens. So I'm selecting it. Okay, but consider, guys, when I launch this, consider this instance is running locally on premises. Okay, on premises locally, and and this guy is working as a storage gateway. And what it will do, so when my VM will go to this IP of this instance of VM, and they say I need NFS server, they say yes I have, so they will provide their storage. Okay, so that's what we are going to do as a demo purpose. Okay, so I'm using this one. Click launch, and there will be multiple steps here. So I want to write everything in your doc. So afterwards, if you want to try this, you can do it. Okay, so one please. So guys, I believe we have done lots of topics and the concepts in AWS. Most of the developer track topic also been covered. So if you guys by chance you see AWS uh, uh, content of developer track, or maybe we have, I think we also share guys the developer track content with you as agenda. Most of the topic of developer track is been covered, but yeah, some of the things is left. But what I believe guys, maybe I just need 3 more classes, around 3 more classes. Different guys, what extra query you have is a different thing, but around 3 more classes I need to cover the content and the remaining content of CS. So in another 3 classes around, we will complete the CSA track. A lot of topics guys we already covered as part of developer, but we covered here, so it is extra bonus for you guys that I told you already. Okay, after this track cover completed, then we will talk exclusive topic what we have in the developer. So we have topic of cloud pipeline, so code pipeline or CI/CD or some other tools for developers or Boto libraries and some more topic. So after this, we will start covering those remaining topic also in our developer track. Okay. Almost all the main topic is covered, but yeah, some more topic exclusive they have, so we will also cover. But I need around 3 more class around to cover the remaining topic of CS. Okay, so let me guys share you one by one. So I'm launching this one. Click and take me to the EC2 page, and according to their instructions over here, they give us how to set up EC2. And they recommend here for this instance, go for M4 extra large. Okay, because there's a heavy software they are. So they recommend to have this, even though you can go for lower, some lower, it will work. I don't think so it will work in T2 micro because this image is a little bit heavy. So they require some extra RAM and CPU. Okay, so right now I'm just launching in this instance, but if you do this demo, these instances are not free in a free tier, it will charge you. So if you want to do this demo in your laptop for practice, just practice for 1 hour. So obviously in cents they will charge. Okay, so I'm using M4 extra large instance type. Okay, so here I search for M4 and you can go for extra large or large. Large also work. This much CPU RAM is enough, but I'm going for what they are recommended. Okay, as an instance type. I'm launching this instance, and this instance behind this in launch all the software for StorageGate. Okay, so click next. Launching one. Important thing is I need a public IP. Okay, why public IP? One of the necessity is if you don't have public IP, how your local system will connect. In this example, because issue instance in the public, and this VM is my local. So this is one of the reasons why I need a public IP that by default I have. Okay, next is storage. This is very important, guys. Understand this is a EC2 instance, but this EC2 instance, guys, work as a storage gateway. And as per my explanation, right, this gateway also have their own local hard disk connected. Okay, so why? Because when this local VM send a data to you, because for local VM you are NFS server, so first you have to store this data in your local hard disk, and this hard disk work as a cache. And then when you get a time, when network, when we have or we continue, just keep on syncing this data to the cloud storage. Let's say in our example, behind the scene they store, they send to S3. Okay, but we need this local storage, otherwise it won't work. Okay, so we have to add this, won't work. There's a root hard disk. I have to add some extra hard disk. The recommendation here is 150 GB hard disk minimum they recommend. I'm adding 200 GB hard disk in this VM as extra hard disk. Okay, you can plan for type. You guys know we have discussed everything about the type in very detail in our last classes. Okay, here I'm just selecting terminate. It's nothing special. By the time if I terminate this instance, this hard is also deleted because this is a demo. But yeah, obviously in the real world, we never want to delete. Otherwise, your data will lose by chance if your instance deleted. Okay, tag. Let me use the name called. This is my storage gateway uh, virtual EC2 instance. Okay, for NAS. That's just some name I'm giving here. Okay, and for security purpose, I'm just allowing all traffic. Okay, but technically you don't have to allow all, just allow NFS port number, that is 2049. I believe, I think they also talk about 2049 allow, but I'm allowing all port here. Okay, and I'm just adding key. So if I want to log into this instance, so I can log in. So that's all, guys. So simple. Your virtual appliance or instances launch in the cloud. It's just an instance. It is not create work as a storage gateway. Now we have to configure the storage gateway. Okay, so only thing I need is this instance. Okay, this is this instance. So I just need this instance. Okay, and obviously the IP of this instance. In my case, the public IP. Okay, this is the only thing I need. Now I go back to my storage gateway page. So instance we launched somewhere, maybe local, but if you log in local, only thing you need is a public IP also. So if you launch this instance, okay, so wherever you launch, that instance should have public IP because this instance has to connect, or Cloud Guy has to connect to this instance via the public IP. So typically this is work as a gateway. So whatever the public IP you have in your router attached to this guy with some way of netting. Okay, so these are the extra things you just keep in mind, but I'm just going for this one. This guys already had the public IP. Okay, so let me go next. Here they're asking you that we are going to connect to the gateway or storage gateway. Technically, they're talking about we are going to connect to this instance. How we can connect? So obviously, guys, if you run on your own premises, so cloud will connect to your appliance on premises, obviously by a public IP, because they are in a different data center. You're in different data center, they will come via public IP. So I will go and set public IP. But if by chance everything running in the AWS, your VM also running in the AWS, these VMs, so we don't look at public IP, we can connect via local VPC only. Okay, but right now my VM is there on local. So I have to go and use public endpoint, mean public IP we have to pick. Okay, so click next. Here they're talking about IP address. So just here to provide the IP of your VM or virtual appliance or hardware, whatever, wherever you launch, guys, this image. So in my case, I launch here. For me, I pick this IP and paste here. Okay. So connect. Now, guys, it's so simple. Now your internet, not internet, your storage gateway has been created. You just give the name. Let's say this is storage gateway for my NAS. You can set your time zone. This is different point. So your storage gateway has been connected. I'm just setting my time zone. Nothing is special, but let me select. Okay, and activate. Okay, now guys, what they're doing, they're looking for the local hard disk and that storage gateway, and whatever extra hard disk you have connected. You have 2 or 3 or 4. In my case, I connected only 1 extra hard disk. So they're looking for or searching for that extra hard disk, and if they found everything is connected properly, they will find that you have some extra hard disk of 200 GB in size. And how you want to allocate? Obviously, you want to allocate this guy as a cache. Okay, so in my storage gateway, this hard disk of 200 GB work as a cache. Right? Continue. So you want to create logs. You guys know what is log. So this they're talking about CloudWatch log. So I just want to disable it. Otherwise, you can create a new group. And whatever activity happen, everything they will create a log in the CloudWatch. So what is CloudWatch log? We had discussed in very detail in our last class. Okay, I don't need right now because we know already. Okay, and save and continue. So that's all, guys. Very simple. You have your own personal storage gateway configured on the cloud, but this gateway device or hardware are running on premise. By chance, in my case, is issued instance. just for demo, but it is running, let's say running on premise. And on premise, this device is connected to storage gateway services on the cloud. How I know connected? By this screen, we come to know they are running. Okay, so everything working good. There is no SS challenge, there is no SS error because we haven't logged, so they're showing this message. Otherwise, everything is going good. Okay, going good. Now, if you see here, this storage gateway is managing in the cloud but running in my premises. Okay, so this storage gateway service says this device in your premises don't have any storage for your internal plans. Means they're talking about you don't have any files to share. Okay, means you haven't created any block storage, you haven't created any NAS storage, nothing is there. Okay, so that's the thing, guys. We in the top we have option. So do you want to create file storage or SAN storage or tap storage? 3 things they support. Let me go and create a volume. Means I want to create a block storage, my hard disk. But you know what happens, guys? If you click here, they won't allow. Why? Because when you create this gateway, the type I selected was file. So this service only help you to connect only those appliances, okay, that is configured as a NAS. Right? So I only create one storage gateway that has a capability for the NAS. Okay, so I can only configure file share. Okay, but if you want to create a hard disk, and that hard disk created in the cloud, but want to connect in your local system, then you have to create one more storage gateway that has a capability. Just click here, and that has a volume, and accordingly you can create. That I'll show you in a minute. So right now I am going to create a file share. Now here they're asking technically, because internally they know whatever whatever data you store in this storage gateway, internally they're going to share in S3 only. So that's the thing, guys, they're asking you which bucket you want to share. Okay, so for this demo, let me create S3 and let me create one bucket there, a new bucket. So I'm going to create a new bucket. Let's say this is my Linux World storage gateway bucket. Okay, so I'm creating this bucket for this demo. I'm disabling public access blockage, even though we don't require. Otherwise, you have to create some extra ACL. Okay, and that's all. So bucket create. Okay, so this bucket is created. Where it is? Yeah. So right now, obviously, like, this bucket is empty. Nothing is there. I create this bucket to store. Now, guys, finally, you know what you're gonna see? This particular bucket running S3 is going to link to this folder. This is the final practical I want to show you here. So this folder running my laptop, okay, are going to be connected with the storage of S3. This would be the final practical. And right now in this bucket, we don't have any data. So what you will see, you don't have any data. But whatever file you create here, this file will be shared or connected or synced to the S3. Okay, that would be final practical. But understand one thing, is no small thing, right? S3 is an object storage where you can download and upload. That's all. But what operation normally you do in a black screen, these commands, you can see the owners, you can see permissions, you can read the file, do lots of file options of file handling. But that is only possible in file system. So anybody who know file handling, right? So those only possible in, or if you anybody know inode, format types, file system, those operations you can't do in object storage. Okay, object storage only support HTTP GET and POST and something like this. Okay, but there's a lot of internal manipulation they have done for us. So S3 going to connect to this folder, before they connect, they will convert it everything for us as a as a NAS. Okay. Same thing for Sen also, they convert first everything in the iSCSI, then I'll help you to connect. So so this bucket is being created, right? Was empty. That's what I wanted. So let me copy the bucket name and let it post here. So I want this will be stored in this bucket. Okay. So my data finally is stored in this bucket. And anybody who by chance know NFS, so guys, whenever you guys share anything NFS always share a folder name. So this is a shared name of the NFS. You can change the name if you want, but it's good practice. Whatever the name you have S3, keep the same name. But according to NFS, they are going to share this folder to the client. Now, how my client want to access by NFS or by SMB, I already told you. Okay, if you think your VMs is the local VM are Windows, then use SMB. If they are Linux, then use NFS. So in my case, it's Linux, so I'm using NFS, but they support both. Okay, and these are some other things, tags and other things that you can configure, but this is the main thing. Two routers. Who gonna share? You just tell your gateway name. So this is the only gateway I have by chance. That's for NAS only. So this gateway I'm going to use. Click next. This is guys about encryption. Good thing is they're storing everything S3. Now you can select what tier you want in S3 that you know already. Okay, do you want to do any IAM roles or key? Everything you know. So everything you can manage here. Okay, because finally my data going to store in S3. So you can decide what setup you want to do about S3. Almost everything we know about S3, whatever it is presented here. Click next. And summary, obviously, and nothing to do here. And finally, here they're talking about because internally we know everything is stored in S3, but your storage gateway give you illusion to this client and say we are providing a storage by NFS. Okay, so that's what they're talking about. So what is this guy? This guy would be client of what? NFS. And the storage gateway would be what? It's like an NFS server. And guys, when you configure NFS server, there, if you guys ever configured, I remember we have shared some videos also to you how to configure your own NFS server. So there in the NFS file, you can put who can access NFS server. Means the list of the current IPs. So right now, guys, they have configured anyone can connect, but you can edit and change. So only those limited client can mount those NFS. Okay. And they have power of redirect. So that's what we need. Otherwise, anybody who know by NFS, those settings, permissions, and all the things you can change with respect to NFS. So I'm not changing anything here. And click create. That's all. So that's why it's created. So finally, if I go to my gateway again, what you see now, this gateway is providing a one share. Okay, so it technically look like for my internal times, it look like this storage gateway now configured as an NFS server, and they have storage. Okay, now by chance, that's a very interesting concept, guys. By chance, I have attached only 200 GB storage here, but you know what happened? When you connect this storage or mount the storage in the VM, okay, you will see the size of S3 storage provided to you. And guys, now today you're going to see typically how much in one go, how much size S3 provide to you. But this 200 GB is just for cache purpose only to speed the thing up. Okay, but technically when you VM mount, your actual size or data storage come directly from S3. Now technically S3 storage we are going to mount in our local machine. You can think in this way. Okay, so how to mount the same way. So anybody who know how to make an NFS client means how to mount exactly same way you can do it. Okay, so let me show you how to mount. Even though guys they show you command also here. So if I click in this file share, this has been creating. It's not created yet, I believe. Yeah, it's now available. So my NFS set is being created. Okay, and they show you all the details. And I think normally in the last they give you a command to create to connect. So NFS normally support in all the OS. Typically we use mainly in Linux. So this is the command they give you. Use this command and connect it. So that's what I'm using here. So what I'm doing, I'm using putty here to connect. I can copy paste this command very quickly. Okay, so I'm connecting to this OS. IP of this OS is 4. Okay, so 192.168, 1.4. little bit, let me increase the font size also. So that's very interesting practical. Finally, this is my local VM, but I'm getting the storage directly connected to my local VM from the cloud. And will look like it is local, but it comes from the cloud. Okay, and you know guys, whenever you mount something, okay, in this system you can use dff command to see what is mounted. We don't see anything mounted in wherever external folder. That's what I want to take the space there and that folder, and nothing coming from the cloud. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this command, paste here, and where you want to mount in this folder. Now it is your choice where your application store data. That's what I started at today's class with, right? So your application is getting the data in this folder, on this folder, log folder, which folder you want to take the space. Okay, or same thing as anybody who knows Docker. So in the Docker, we have a volume option. So you launch the Docker locally, but storage of the Docker coming via storage gateway. For anybody who by chance know Kubernetes, so your Kubernetes running locally, port running locally, but storage of PVC come from storage gateway. So anywhere you can use this concept. Okay, I hit enter. Let's see what happened. Okay, so technically anybody know NFS? So this is a command we use always. We're using mount command. This is IP of my NFS. This is the NFS folder share. I'm mounting to my local system, but it's not working, guys. I have to do Control C to stop. Why is not working? Because I'm using a private IP here, and I'm into my local machine. And for my local machine, I can't connect to private IP of the AWS cloud. So by turn, guys, they give you the command, and they give you the command with the private IP. So what I mean by this, if you go to my gateway again, and in the gateway, guys, because this gateway by chance running EC2 instance, and guys, you know, EC2 instance will have 2 IP, public and private. By chance, they present is public private IP here, but I am in my local machine. I can connect to a private IP. You guys know. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to this instance where my gateway running. This instance, and I'm picking the IP of this instance over here. Okay, over here, and paste. And what I'm doing here, I'm posting this IP. And now, guys, we want to see this again. Remember, this is the local machine, where I'm getting the storage directly mounted from the cloud. Enter. So quick, no error. Even though if you run the dfht, you see, guys, how much storage come from the cloud. Okay, this folder is mounted from this location. You can see this one. Maybe this might be the first time you might see this. My size of storage might be. Okay, so by default, guys, this storage comes from gateway. In our gateway, we have put only 200 GB hard disk, but that is for local cache purpose. But internally, they get entire storage of S3 and provide it to you. And here, not as entire storage, but S3 give you multiple blocks. So they get one on the block of S3, and that block size of S3, what they provided us is E. You know, gigabyte, then terabyte, then petabyte, then exabyte. So 8 exabyte storage they provided you. Okay, it means if you go to this folder, nothing is there, because now our storage is coming from here. And you know, guys, this storage is coming from S3. or now S3, we don't have anything. Okay, but if I do all the local file system command like cat, let's say this is my file name, welcome hi, enter. This is a normal folder, normal thing we are doing, normal command you're running, look like normal file system with everything, permissions, XLNS, whatever you know, everything is there. But internally, this data look like is there in my local computer, my local application use this the way they use, but everything is synced to S3. So if you go to S3, you can see refresh this file created. See it? Or whatever put in S3, obviously you will see that. So if I upload something here, what I put in this bucket, it will be come over here. Okay. So guys, this is the use cases of storage gateway. But the most important thing is this is a way you can demonstrate and create a setup for the sorry, for the storage gateway. So right now I just mounted my NAS storage because the gateway I created for NAS means for file. But if you want to do a practical for SAN, okay. So for this, you have to create. Let me go to storage gateway again. Sorry. So for this, you have to go and set up one more gateway, and this time then we create a volume one. Okay, so I'm going to create a gateway. This is called volume, means they provide block storage. Two different type of block storage they will provide to you. One is low latency. Okay, one is on-premise data schedule offsite back. So it's about use cases. What use cases you have. So if you want your on-prem data to be backup, you can go for this. If you want low latency, you can go for this. Difference is what are the IO they give you, throughput they give you. The way going to manage will be different, depending on the use case. Okay, so let me go for this use case, low latency. I want my thing to very much fastly copied. Okay, and this is a good example of hybrid. Maybe some of the data is there in the cloud, some of the data maybe there in local, or not like this. Data is same both the side. But you know, guys, anybody know about Kubernetes? So we can plan in the Kubernetes that some pod running of the same app in the cloud, some pod is running in my on premises. So we have a hybrid setup of Kubernetes, multi-cloud setup. Okay, so anybody running the cloud, they can reading data from the cloud. Anybody pod running in my own premises, they are getting the data from on premises. So in this case, I want my wherever I change my data, it would be sync very quickly, low latency. So this might be one of the use case for this one. So I'm going for this particular example. Okay. So click next. Again, same logic. Okay, you have to create a gateway, storage gateway. You can get the image, launch it, or hardware appliance. But again, I'm using HOD instance type. Okay. So I launch this instance. Again, this will be new instance. I'm again using M4 extra large for this demo. Okay, everything same. Again, same. In the hard disk, I'm going to add one hard disk. And just one thing, guys, for this use case, which use case? You know, I had gone for this one. Let me go back. So my use case was cache, right? Because they are low latency, so they actually use two hard disks actually. One hard disk for caches that you know already, and one for buffer. Okay, two hard disks they use, and they two hard disks they use some way to speed up the thing. So if you want to go for this one, you have to use two hard disks. Why two? Just think in this way because of the speed up and performance and low latency. So technically, in this instance, you have to attach with the two hard disks. Minimum is 150 GB requirement. So let me go for 150 GB only. Okay, and let me add one more, 150 GB. So one for buffer and one for cache. So this type they require. Why I know? How I know? Because in the document it is written. Or logic also, guys, something as extra power come up. So we need some extra capability what they have, right? So this again storage way. And here I'm using this guy for SAN. Okay, allowing by all traffic. So guys, this spectacle would be something like this. You are going to create hard disk on the cloud. Interesting thing is this hard disk actually created in S3. Okay. Because you guys know also one thing by chance, you know what is EBS. And when you create a backup or snapshot of EBS, a snapshot of EBS guys also stored in S3 only. Okay. So something like this they're doing. So technically they are creating EBS snapshot in the S3, and from there they're giving a hard disk to us. So it looked like that we have a real hard disk come up. It worked like a real hard disk actually. Okay. Who's going to manage this? This gateway. Okay, this we get to manage this. So I'll pick this IP of this gateway and connect after they initialize. Okay, so before they do so, guys, I just want to give you some quick vocabulary. Those who by chance don't know anything about iSCSI. Okay, so guys, in the if this is the server and this is the client, and this server is provide a storage to you to the client. It's a client, and and if the server is providing storage, there is the block storage. It means hard disk will be here, real hard disk, but they will give this hard disk over the network in such a way that this client feel they get a real hard disk. They get that feeling. Okay, but this hard disk doesn't come connect in USB or internal. This hard disk come via internet. So for this, we have to use iSCSI, Internet iSCSI protocol. Or in this world, the server is normally known as target and client is normally known as initiator. So these are two terms you should know. So client is known as initiator and server is the target. And the protocol they use is iSCSI. Motto is the hard disk or storage will be in the target. In my case, my target would be my storage gateway. And this storage gateway getting the storage from the real program or service called S3. So in our case, this is the same. So our storage gateway would be target. In the hard disk they're getting for somewhere, by chance we know is S3, but from wherever they're getting, that would be their lookout. And we as a client, okay, who is the client? In my own premises VM. So this VM is the one of the client. Or maybe it's not only on premises only, right? You can also launch this VM in EC2 instance also, or maybe other cloud also. Maybe you can launch this instance in Azure cloud. Okay, so instance running in Azure virtual machine, and you're getting the storage hard disk connected from AWS with the help of storage gate. So that can be possibility. So just for demonstrating this practical, I just want using some little bit different way. So I'm launching VM in EC2 instance. Okay, that's again in the cloud. Okay, so for this demonstration, I'm just launching one instance very quickly. I'm using this by default this Linux. So let's say this is my own premise running this instance somewhere on the cloud, and we are getting storage somewhere from else. Okay, these guys only have one single hard disk, the root hard disk. They don't have any extra hard disk, but from the iSCSI server, they get one more hard disk on the fly. Okay, so let's say this is the SAN client, also known as initiator. Just for the no issue connectivity, just I'm using this option and use a key to log in. Okay, so I use this system to demo this practical. Okay, so before the system launch, let me set up my storage gateway. Okay, so I'm setting up my storage gateway. This time my VM is not on premises; they are other cloud. In my case, I'm using AWS only. Okay, but interesting is they get the storage with the help of storage gateway. Internally, they are getting the storage from S3. Okay, so something like this we're using. So let me go next. Let me configure my storage gateway. Again, public accessible because other cloud want to use, or my own premises want to use. But in my case, I can go for VPC because everything working inside of VPC. But let me take a scenario where storage in AWS and a storage client would be anywhere in the world. The IP of a storage gateway. Let me pick from here. So this is SAN, this is IP, I put and connect. Same, the process is almost the same. Okay, just make give the gateway name. So my gateway is, let's say, for SAN. Storage gateway, let's say. Give any name, what I feel like. SAN. And now, depending on use case, I want my storage gateway will give me low latency. So I attach two hard disks, and two hard disks they need actually. So both the hard disks they detect in my storage gateway hardware or my appliance or virtual appliance. And so guys, they are checking up, and they also recommend minimum 150 hard disks we need for caching or for buffering. Why we need? Learn more. Click if you want to learn more, but we have this much. So one hard disk I'm connecting for buffer, one hard disk I'm connecting for caches. Okay, there's some different buffer and caches. Anybody who by chance know, here I'm not discussing the difference. If you are the earth learner, so in my upcoming class of DSA, somewhere we're going to discuss a buffer and cache in very detail, but here I'm not discussing. Okay. Here they're talking about logging. I don't need, so I will disable this. And that's all, guys. Your gateway connected. Now again, this gateway has no volumes, means no hard disk. But this time I can't connect file share here. Oh, they are allowing. See, I thought they don't allow, but maybe they are using some more trick behind this thing. Okay, but technically, in SAN, we normally create a volume. Okay, so this is for volume type. So we create a volume here. Okay. But now, guys, here they're talking about what size you want. Let's say I want to create a 10 GB hard disk, 10 GB. A new hard disk I'm going to create, or maybe you can also do one thing. If you already have some EBS snapshot, okay, so from that snapshot you can also create a volume. So interesting thing is, very good use case, very interesting use case actually. That a lot of time we need this use case. So in my AWS, we launch EC2 instance. You guys know EC2 instance behind the scene, they have a hard disk. A lot of data we already have. And now this hard disk, I want to send to my on-prem. So how we can do? So this hard disk, we can create EBS snapshot. You know how? From this EBS snapshot, I can create a storage gateway. And from the storage gateway, I can provide to this guy. So this is what guys they're talking about. In storage gateway, do you want to, based on a snapshot, give me a snapshot name. So technically, whatever data you have already in EBS, you can send it to a local system. Okay, that's what they're asking. But here I'm going to create a new hard disk. And they're asking me the target name. Means in iSCSI world, in one server, you can create multiple hard disks. So every hard disk have a name. You can think as a target name. So I'm just giving a target name here, for example, Linux World Storage target. Some name I'm giving. Okay, just give some name. So, so 10 GB hard disk created in my server, in my target, and name of my hard disk, you can think is a LWS target. And that's all. Okay. Obviously, we need security. I want any client connect, client also known as initiator. They need login and password, only then they connect. I'm not doing this. So it's called CHAP authentication. I don't need. I just skip this, right? Okay. So that's all, guys. In this SAN storage, okay, we had created one hard disk. Okay, one hard disk. And this hard disk, we can connect to the cloud. Maybe client would be in on premises, maybe in other cloud. Right now, I'm using a client in my EC2 instance only. So I'm going to use a client, this one. So this one I'm going to use as a client. So let me copy this. Let me use Putty to log in. Just consider this is my local client, so local VM on-premise system. And here I want to attach a hard disk. Okay. One minute, please. So anybody who by chance know iSCSI, so here we do use some iSCSI commands actually. Okay. So those commands I'm going to use here. I'm also giving you a reference. From there you can refer the command. Those who don't know by chance iSCSI. So by chance guys, this system, let's say this is my local computer, and if you run the fdfl command, you can see how many hard disks I have here. I have only one single hard disk of 8 GB. That is my root hard disk. But I don't have any 10 GB or 100 GB hard disk here. So one possibility is, if this instance is running in AWS, you can go to ABS, create a volume attest here, that you know. But let's say this system is your local machine and you don't have any storage locally. So you can create a storage in cloud that I did already, and from there you can connect. So your system would be client, and that system means this one would be the server here. That's what we are going to do. Okay, so this volume we have created of 10 GB, and we can use this volume. We know the IP address, the port number, we can connect this. Okay, and understand one thing guys, this is server, or this is known as target, and this is a target name we had given. And there is no initiator yet, means none of the client yet connected. And I want to be a client. And guys, if you want to be a client, so client need to run two commands actually. So anybody who by chance know iSCSI, okay, so this is about the guy, this is not about the iSCSI client actually, but just very quickly, if any client want to connect to server, first thing they have to discover. Means client will go to server and say, do you have any hard disk for me? I want to discover, and just give me the name. So client will get a name. Which name? This name will be will reach to the client. So after client will get the name, second command they run. Okay, and this command, client say, I know the name, I want to connect to this hard disk, and this is called login. By chance here I disable the login. Without login password they connect, but login means I know the hard disk name or but target name. So I want to connect this hard disk, means what hard disk you have connect to my system over the iSCSI protocol or over the network. So these two things iSCSI do for you. Very high level. So if you know guys iSCSI ADM command, or the big command, you can do it. Or otherwise, those who by chance new in this area, just for demonstration purpose, you can check Microsoft Windows link here. They show you step by steps how to connect. Okay, so I just clicking this link of Linux because this is my Linux instance. And obviously guys, client need a software or command. So first of all guys, we have to install this software. That's why I'm installing here. So this software we need. Okay, so this is done. And we need to start some services of client. This guy's client side services is not running. So I start this. Let me check the status. My client also needs service. Service starts. Okay, and then this is the command I'm talking about. First command is discover, and second command after discover is to login. Okay, so this is the command you can run. Let me copy this command and run it. Only thing is you change your IP address gateway, and I know my gateway IP address. This IP address or gateway. I don't know, guys, they both are in the same VPC or not. I forgot to check that time. If my gateway and this instance both in the same VPC, because it's a private IP, they can connect, or there's no firewall issue. So what actually thing we are doing here, from the client, I am discovering, do we have any hard disk? If they have connectivity, yes, they have a connectivity. They say, yes, this is server. They reply, yes, you have hard disk with this. I see here exactly same name command. Okay, so they say in server you have the hard disk. The second thing is we have to connect, and for connect, this is the command. Click. Okay, here you again give the IP address to your gateway. So IP address of my gateway is again same, obviously. And here you have to tell your target name. So here guys, my target name is this one, LWST. Technical target name is full. Just compare, this is the same. Yes. So it's very interesting thing, guys. I don't know how you know about iSCSI or not, but iSCSI is a great protocol actually. Your storage will be somewhere else, but from the network or from internet, your storage will come to a system. It look like, and you connected local pen drive or local hard disk. it give you feel like this. That's so successful one go. Technically, this means you can think, guys, this command is like you are connecting a local pen drive in a system. Okay, and that pen drive is somewhere anywhere in the cloud. Okay, and now after running this command, if you run fd7l, you see, guys, by chance, guys, fds command doesn't show you because fds command is you can say maybe not obsoleted, but yeah, some of the things they won't show you because they have a some type of hard disk that doesn't show you. I can say in this way, right? So that is the reason, guys, they have given you this command to check. So if you run dev disk, okay, and by path, sorry, so this name, guys, hard disk come up, right? So not this, not it's not come up actually. Why not come up? So it should come. What bit? It should come, or I have to register my service again. Okay. So technically, they show me hard disk come up or connected. There's no error come up. There's no error come up. But why they're not showing you? Let me check in this portal. Normally name also come up here. Let me refresh. So they're still waiting. And normally they can very quickly, but let me check in a minute, guys. They may come up in this portal and they say your hard disk is, your client has connected to the storage, and this is the client. And in this folder, you can see one new name come up. This hard disk name. Typically, fds command also show you, but sometimes they don't show you. But here they always show. As you're waiting, guys, takes some time because they are doing maybe some process, but this will come up. But technically, in my command perspective, they was very successful. Okay, and according to them, hard disk is connected. Okay, they wait for some time. By the time it's logging, so there's a lot of powerful practical I showed to you. Maybe if you go to some advanced training in AWS, they might show you these practicals, but it's very useful. Okay, multiple use cases I show you about a storage gateway. Okay, so we'll see in a minute. This should come up definitely. Okay, and this two are this guys. This is just for CloudWatch. It's not important, but they are. After this, you can just create a stop the gateway, delete the gateway, something like this, because because they optimize this gateway such a way, whatever data they're transferring to the cloud from your local gateway, they compress it. Okay, they do a lot of further planning for you. So everything they try to make it very that has low latency. But anybody who know by chance about bandwidth limit, all the things you can also set here. So I'm not going for this topic, but otherwise, just if you want to delete this gateway, you can delete. So guys, this is about storage gateway. Okay, just try this practicals. Very interesting to have a great environment. So in thing, guys, your web server running locally, your Docker running locally, but all the data is stored S3 on the fly. On the visual real time, right? On the fly, they are storing, and you don't have to manage anything. Everything from encryption to scalability, everything is managed by AWS because they are using S3. So guys, this is about storage gate. Okay. Let me take one more topic. It's very new service even. So there's one more service, guys, in AWS. More something look like the storage gateway only, but they have a different use case to solve. So the service name is called FSX. Okay, so FSX. Okay, so what is idea? Okay, this service is anybody who by chance know Windows have a desktop. This is the desktop. For Windows also come with Windows Server, the Windows 12, Windows 16. Okay, 2016 I'm talking about. And in servers they have a lot of different services for DNS, for Active Directories, for databases, for mail servers, right? For web servers. Okay, they also have one service called distributed file system, and they're meant uh, big data workload. They're meant for for bigger workload, something like this, right? Maybe for big data, I can say, right? So Windows Server also have their own DFS file system, distributed file system. It's like cluster. It's something like they have master and worker node, and whenever the stories come up, they distribute in parallel and read in parallel. So it will be very highly optimized for bigger data and workload. Okay, so in the Windows in the Windows Server we can configure these guys. So we search for Windows Server DFS. Okay, so they have this setup and the product to configure everything. Okay, it's something like Hadoop distributed file system, something like, anybody who know Hadoop, something like, not exactly. Okay, they have. So why I'm saying this, there's a product from Windows that you have to manage, you have to configure, you have to provide storage, everything you have to provide. But what AWS say, now you don't have to worry about. So this will be purely managed by us. And they create one managed service of this guy. And name of the service called FS. So now your complete file system or digital file system is managed by AWS by FSX service. So this is the idea of this service. Okay, but nowadays, guys, it is also very common. Anybody who know Linux, in Linux also, guys, we have a cluster for distributed file system. Okay, and that is actually meant for, again, big data workload, or anybody who by chance know HPC, high performance computing workload. Okay, so, and guys, especially in HPC, if anybody know, there we need a very powerful storage in the terms of speed, performance, throughput, and IO. So again, we have a cluster, and cluster work together somehow, and they are very quick in terms of read and write. Okay, that normal hard doesn't provide you, but have they create a cluster in such a way that they do parallel operation to do things very quickly. Okay, so we have some Linux cluster that we can configure for HPC. So a lot of product is there in the market. If you search for Linux servers for HP, sorry, so for Linux server for HPC, so you can find some kind of server that has HPC parallel computing. They provide you for some data analytics. Okay, but under the umbrella FS, initially, guys, they launched for Windows, but now they also use FSX for Linux clusters. So what they did, they give the new name for this. So they pick L from Linux, or they pick UST from here. They give the name called Lust. It's not actually Lust, and ER they reverse. I don't know why, but the service name is called Lust. So under FX, they create a cluster service, and then again there's a managed service for SPC cluster. They just need to click and everything they will cater for you. So this idea of this is the use of this server. So if you search for FSX, this is fully managed third-party optimized for varied workload, especially the HPC or the big data workloads. Okay, I don't say big data as much, but yeah, more about HPC, high performance workload. Okay, so this service they have for Windows, DFS, or for Lustre. Okay, so if I click here, you can choose. Let me go for this one. Okay, this is for Windows, and these are the things. There's things they can do for you. Okay, and click next. How to configure? So simple. Give the name my FSX1. Set a multi-AZ, which kind of hard disk you want to give, and because they're for bigger workload, minimum they support 32 GB, maximum this much they support. Let me go for 100 GB, and they automatically help you to recommend the hard disk throughput, but you can also change because this is for bigger workload, right? You can increase the throughput also. Okay, around 65, I think 60 or terabyte maybe around they support. Okay, and this thing, and plus some things. But here, guys, anybody who know about Windows AD Active Directory, okay, because if you guys know Windows DFS, normally we provide storage to our team by after they authenticate and authorize with Windows Active Directory services. So we have to guys use this. I don't have right now. I can configure or self. Then you can configure. You can go for encryption and other things also. So that's what, guys, click next and it will configure for you. And right now I'm not configuring it. First of all, as such, we don't have in our program this topic. We have very high level idea that I already explained to you. But if I click here, because this will cost you a lot. Okay, because it's not free service, per GB they cost you, so I don't want to unwanted show you and launch. Okay, so there's one thing I want to show you, and one more thing. If you click again, is for Lustre, and it is for parallel cluster or for other things, HPC, high performance computing, maybe for machine learning, financial modeling, big video processing. Here, guys, again, you can go some name. You can choose your throughput speed. They say minimum they require 1.2 terabyte and this much terabyte. They increase for you. So if I let's say 2 terabyte, then unsupported 2.4, maybe in the multiple they support because of the cluster. And this much throughput you're gonna get is very high. And further things is to say same what you normally do. But this guy has a capability. You can export, import data in S3. So if you have some big data in S3, you can actually import, export there and do some HPC or some model of machine learning on the top of this. Okay, so they have this. Again, obviously I'm not going to launch, right? It's going to cost you a lot of per GB they cost you. So obviously I'm not launched, but I just want to show you this is also a one great services they have in their portfolio. Okay, so this is the whole idea how these services work. So again, guys, I want to tell you one same thing again. By chance, this is a 10-minute topic according to actual agenda of CSA. I consume one whole class, I know, because I want try to show you as much as practical possible. Okay, and that's what we did in our storage gateway class topic actually. So that's all for today. That's all for today. Again, for tomorrow, I'll pick some interesting topic, very much useful for real world, plus for CSA examination also. That's all for today. Any questions or any query if you have, you guys can ask. Anudeep, bind service, I think you're talking about DNS. Bind is a one product, and I don't know, there are multiple bind console we have a network, but if you're talking about bind as a product, this product is open source for the DNS. Please help us to help us for DO180VT. No one helping. Aniket, I believe we have a dedicated team for VT on role allocation for Red Hat. Okay, so contact your WhatsApp head or respective team. They will definitely help you. Okay, they are working very hard for managing this part, right? So Aniket, connect to your team head. They will help you to connect to the respective person. The connect workshop Python scripting. Ravi, actually, in my ISC class, I talked already in very detail. It's a free classes. You can go and read. So almost everything about Python we discussed there. So it's free. You can go to IISc Rise, and almost everything about the Python you get there. So somebody asked me why we need storage gateway since EFS we can mount directly. And so one thing, that's the reason Mohammed I explained in this way, right? If you mount EFS directly, but understand one thing, your internal, let's say your internet databases you have, I don't want my database to go to internet directly. We don't allow, right? Because of compliance security region. Okay, but how can you do this now? Okay, so let's think in this way. So for this, I need some appliance or hardware appliance to run in my own premises. So I have a local connectivity with this, and they will take me cloud. So my database directly won't expose to the outer world. But if you go for EFS, you have to directly mount it, right, in local VMs. That I can't do in most of the cases. And there, if some connection lose, my data might lose. But if you have something local, they will keep on having a local caches, and then so the internet up, they will start syncing. So a lot of other benefit also they're giving you as a storage gateway. But if you go to EFS, it's like a DAG NFS server. So what extra benefit your cache server is doing, like gateway, you won't have it in EFS. Is I'll try, guys, to show the demo of S3 multipart and data sync. I'll try. I will explain what this service is, but about the demo, I definitely try. Guys, I got to explain you difference in SAN and NAS in my initial classes, so I don't want to invest my time again. But very high level, SAN means if you have server, they give you hard disk to you, a raw hard disk, on which you can get a partition in format. It's called SAN. And somebody give you shared folder that you can directly mount and use it, that are normally done by NAS services. Root squares is one concept, it's not method, it's one type of NFS server. Root means we restricted root power in NFS server. Okay, so that is the meaning of root squares. So if you know NFS, you have multiple type of root squares, user squares, no squares root. So those things they're talking about. We start AWS DevOps certification. I don't think so. We can we can have it. Yes, usually I work heavily on DevSecOps. Recently, I delivered a detailed course on DevSecOps. So Reddit has one program called 425. They are purely based on DevSecOps. So recently, some months back, I delivered this class, but there is no assets plan again for DevSecOps training. Plus throughput, in my last class, I already explained guys about throughput in detail. Throughput and IOPS. Can you start at 7 during Ramadan or Ramadan? Yes, definitely I'll try. I'll ask my team. If you are the part of Earth, I don't know. My time in my Earth is 7 only. But if you are the part of AWS, so maybe you ask me to change the time from 6:30 to 7 o'clock. I definitely try and ask my team, and we'll try from tomorrow onwards. It's possible to change the team, so change time to 7 o'clock. Yes, Rahul, you can do it. AWS doesn't support this. You have to create your own storage gateway where you can transfer your storage to Hadoop instead of S3. Because storage gateway is AWS service, so they support S3 only mainly. But Hadoop is open source product. You can create your own storage gateway by some kind of programs, but it's not available in AWS. No, Ritesh, it is not important to use 200 GB as a cache. They recommend 150. It's all upon your workload, how frequently your data change, sync in your final storage. So it's all depend upon your final app. Okay. If you don't have so much application for writing, actually, especially maybe for reading also, you can minimize the caches. Or you think you have a lot of reading, writing, but same files, then again you can minimize the caches. But you have a lot of read and write for different files and data, so you have to increase your cache. So it's all upon your final requirement. Why it was nobody in the console scheme? Nikhil, actually, because the biosetting of root squares. So root squares is one concept that won't give you root power permission in your file system. Okay, that's the reason they show you nobody. But if you set the no root squares there, then they show you a root user as your account. uh, you can go for T2 micro and storage gateway, but I don't think so it will work because Intel they're using as some heavy software that require a lot of RAM and CPU. Maybe you can try once. It might be slow, but I don't know. It will work or fail. Just try once. Okay. Otherwise, just try to increase a little bit more instance type because they require some at least some GB RAM, maybe 2 GB, maybe. Just try it. But so so that's all, guys, for today, and see you in the next class with some more concepts we discussed there. Right? Bye. No, Govind, Google doesn't use SFS MapReduce behind Colab, right? They just maybe they use some container and the container they launch Jupyter Notebook for you with some kind of customization. So that one Colab they do, so they provide you pre-created storage or pre-created libraries for machine learning and deep learning. Okay, but they're not using HDFS or MapReduce because HDFS and MapReduce will solve different use case for us. No, guys, in summer training, you guys won't get a break in art, guys. Both will run parallel. Art again continue at the same time evening, and summer will go in morning time, right? So there will be no break for art guys in the summer. Bye, guys. Take care. See you.